Hello everyone, and welcome to the live stream. I hope that you're all doing good. Tonight, we are going to be hanging out for a while, a few hours, and we're going to be talking about a bunch of different things. A lot that I feel have happened over just the past day or two. I was thinking about, topics that maybe I haven't gotten to cover over the past week that I wanted to talk about, but I'm going to be honest, there weren't really a lot. And then today happened, and I feel like we've gotten a bunch of new information on stuff. So we've got a lot of different things to talk about tonight, of course. Have to narrow them down, but that's fine. So we're going to be talking about Ms. Marvel. I did make a video on this yesterday, but I wanted to just recap it again, because I feel like this is a funny topic to discuss. The fact that when you look at something like Ms. Marvel, this was a series that, in my opinion, after watching the teasers and the trailers, I felt like it didn't really have much of a direction, but it seemed like they were putting a lot of money into it. They were pretty happy with the product that they were creating. They thought it was going to appeal to people. And now that it's released, it is a massive bust for Marvel, and it is now the least watched Marvel show on Disney+, which isn't really that surprising to me. I never really looked at this Ms. Marvel series and went, wow, this has the potential to be something really good. I think from the very beginning, a lot of people were feeling meh on it, and now that it's released, we're still feeling pretty meh on it. So I wanted to talk about that. I have a few different Blizzard topics that I just wanted to kind of shove together. The first being that Blizzard is now requiring World of Warcraft players to sign an anti-harassment social contract before logging in. And when it comes to Blizzard, apparently, they're more worried just about the way that their players are acting, not the way that their employees are acting, because while players have to sign a stupid anti-harassment social contract, employees, in fact, don't have to sign the same thing. So I wanted to talk about that, since I wanted to initially do a video on it, but I didn't get a chance to. There were just other things to talk about, but I thought since there's a few Blizzard topics to briefly mention, that we'd throw it into the topic, or the pile of topics. Then we're going to be talking about Diablo Immortal. Diablo Immortal is just absolutely fucking trash and terrible, and I can't believe that they'd have the audacity to release this. But hilariously enough, Diablo Immortal's Chinese release has been shockingly, who could have seen this coming, delayed just days before launch. And obviously, this probably doesn't sit very well with Blizzard, because of course China is a massive part of their business. But it's not just out of the blue, this is randomly happening, because just days ago their Chinese social media accounts were banned. So the market that they care the most about started banning them off of their social media, and now the release of Diablo Immortal has been suspiciously delayed. But they're saying, the developers just need some more time to work on the game more. Surely, guys, that's all that's behind this decision. So we're going to talk about also the Game of Thrones sequel series. You guys know I was disappointed with the way that Game of Thrones ended. I think that it is absolutely ridiculous that they rushed Game of Thrones just to finish it. Now, only a few years later, deciding to create a sequel series that has actors attached to it that were in the main Game of Thrones series, like Kit Harington. Ah, boy, oh boy, oh boy. They rushed Game of Thrones. They didn't want to do it anymore. They were done. Now, only a few years later, they're doing a sequel series. Really? And to make it even worse, it's not like there's any source material written. That was the problem with Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones started off being absolutely fucking amazing, but it started kind of falling off when they ran out of source material. They didn't know what they were going to do. They didn't know what they should be doing. They had no vision, which you'd think that after working on the show for probably about 5 to 6 seasons at that point, they'd have an idea. But they ran out of source material. That's why the show went to shit, and now they're doing a sequel series, which just blows my mind. And we're also going to be talking about the Rings of Power, because in just a few months, the Rings of Power is going to be releasing. But of course, Amazon's been putting out promotional material for it on social media, ads, all this fun stuff. And they decided to put out this Prime Video / Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power advertisement. And it's titled, "The Earth Needs More Elf Fans. See Where It Takes You, Prime Video." And it's getting absolutely ratioed. And, of course, people in the comment section are roasting this ad. So those are the topics that we're going to discuss tonight. Hello, everyone. I hope your evening is going well. Thank you, Raj, for the $1.99 super chat at the beginning of stream. And thank you, Dark Jester, for the 3 months of membership. Much appreciated. Thank you, thank you. George R. R. Martin, don't look at me. I don't know what to say about George R. R. Martin anymore, because it's like, if I heard that, oh, he was going to be overseeing this series, right? Maybe on one hand, I'd have a little more hope in it, because ultimately he's the creator. If he has an idea, that should be the focus of it. If he says that this would make sense or that would make sense, that should really matter to these writers and these directors and producers. But at the same time, with the last few seasons of the main Game of Thrones series, he just kind of said, yeah, this is my idea and that's my idea, but you guys can do whatever you want. I feel like the problem also lies with George R. R. Martin, because I think that for the first few seasons, he was very dedicated to the series. He was very focused on giving his input, meeting the actors. It was also said that he even got to help handpick some of the actors for these very now iconic roles. And I think the first probably 4 to 5 seasons, he had a lot of pull when it came to the show. But then, once you hit season maybe 5, going into 6, 7, 8, he just kind of gave up on the show. Unfortunately, like, he's kind of given up on the books. And that's where the show started to really go downhill. That's where the quality dropped. And I think that, on one hand, a giant factor is the fact that these writers for the show and the directors, the producers, they didn't really have a clear direction with source material. But I also think it's another problem is because George R. R. Martin kind of stopped helping. So you've got this pile of problems that I do kind of agree that, yeah, it would be really hard for them to come back from and magically fix. But with the last 2 seasons of Game of Thrones, it just seemed like there wasn't anything there, right? Like the writers, producers, they lost passion for the project. Maybe they were also feeling some of that pressure from actors who were like, we're going on years and years and years of this show. I want to move on to other roles. And maybe they just said, you know what, the cast is too large. We can't deal with this anymore. That's why we've got to rush it. And now those actors, like Kit Harington, are like, oh, So you're telling me my career is basically over without Game of Thrones, and now those people are scrambling going, oh no. Okay, I'll do more Game of Thrones. And there are some people trying to paint the sequel series as, it's our redo. Fans are getting the redo that they begged for now. No, it's not the redo. It is not the redo, and we should not give them a pass. Just because it is a sequel series that has Kit Harington doesn't mean that we're going to see even a quarter of the characters. Yes, you would assume at some point you might see Sansa, and you might see Arya, you might see Bran, because of course they're all the Starks. You still have to accept the fact that those previous storylines that they completely fucked up happened. And it's not like they're going into this saying, we're retconning this, we're retconning that, we're trying to fix things. I mean, we basically know that 80% of this series is just going to be, I'm Jon Snow, I don't want it, my queen is dead. Like, it's still going to be the same shitty Jon Snow that we had in Season 5, Season 6, and Season 7. Season 8, Season 9, Season 10, 11, 12. Okay, it's still McQueen Jon Snow. So yeah, how's everyone doing tonight? We have a lot to talk about. Winter is not coming. Winter has not arrived. I liked Game of Thrones. I love the first few seasons. Love the books. Think there's some great content there. This is not poggers. Okay, this is a no-go for me. This doesn't get me excited for Game of Thrones any more than I was already excited, and I wasn't feeling very excited. Yeah, the few Starks that are still alive. And the problem with that also is that who knows if those actors will even want to come back. I know that I'm pretty sure that they had faced a couple problems with Sophie Turner because she had gotten married. How many kids do her and Joe Jonas have now? 2, which is great for her. But she was also doing modeling. She was acting on other projects. But she was one of those actresses that was like, I either want the screen time of a full season and I'm actually going to have a main part in this show, or I don't want to be part of this show, which partially is very stuck-up, snotty actor, but at the same time, like, I get it. When you can't do another project besides that for, like, an entire year, yeah, you want to be a main part of it. So, again, a problem lies with the actors. They had a cast of how many main actors? Like 25 to 30 main characters that they needed to write, that they needed to cast, that they needed to pay for. And I guess they just ran out of ambition. I think that's probably the best way to say it, is they just ran out of the fucks to give. Game of Thrones was fine, but the show needed a new cast. See, I disagree. I think that the casting for Game of Thrones was some of the best casting I've ever seen in a TV series. That's just my opinion. I think Lita Headey as Cersei, Nikolai Coster-Waldau as Jaime, Peter Dinklage as Tyrion, Charles Dance as Tywin, like Sophie Turner as Sansa, and Maisie Williams as Arya. Like, I thought the casting was pretty fucking spectacular. I have to say, there were very few characters in the Game of Thrones TV show. Honestly, not really any, besides maybe like one here, one there, that I can think of that I went, yeah, this person doesn't play the character right. Yeah, this person isn't good enough. I felt like the casting was great, and I mean, they were following the source material for the characters. Some were different Like Tyrion in the show, he's a much more like cool guy. But yeah. The first cast was really good, but for the new show, it needs to change. But the problem is it can't change. That's the thing, right? Is that they cast Kit Harington as Jon Snow again. So clearly it's maybe, let's say, 5 years to 10 years at most down the line. So none of the characters would look so significantly different that you could ever recast them. That's the problem that they face with doing a Jon Snow. It's not like they picked an actor. It's not like they picked an actor, you know, who's 30 years older to play maybe a 60-year-old Jon Snow, and they could recast everyone. That's the issue that they face now. But all right, guys. Let's get into, well, I mean, geez, we've been ranting about Game of Thrones. We'll get into Game of Thrones. But let's start with Miss Marvel. Now, you guys know, when it comes to Marvel, I have not been a fan of Marvel's content as of recently. Phase 4 has been a complete and utter joke, in my opinion. I think that Phase 4... I liked the idea of like, oh, the multiverse, lots of characters, and that still doesn't sound bad. It's just the storylines that they've gone with that are bad. Some of the actors that they've chosen that are bad. Unfortunately, Marvel has been quite a bust over the past few years for me. Very few projects I've seen that I've gone, wow, this is great, or wow, this is actually something new, fresh, emotional, interesting. But Miss Marvel, which is the newest series that they've tried to push, has been a huge bust for Kevin Feige. It is the least watched Marvel show on Disney+. Now, when I saw the trailers, the teaser, all of the teasers for Miss Marvel, I saw a few very glaringly obvious problems. The first is that, okay, I've said this many times and I'll say it again for the conversation, for context. Miss Marvel was never a good character. Miss Marvel was written in 15 or 16? She was written a few years back specifically to push a narrative, specifically to go, look, identity politics, okay? She was never a good character, but I have always stuck to this, and I always will. You need to stick to the source material. And what they did was they decided to go into the show and retcon a bunch of stuff. Now, again, I do not like Miss Marvel's character. I don't think that she is good. I'm not a fan. But they went into this TV show going, oh, we're going to change this. We're going to change that. Oh, this about her power set is different. That about her power set is different. Now she does this differently. And so the people who wanted to watch this show, because they knew the comic book character, were mad that they made these changes. And then you've got people on the other side that were mad that this show even existed because this character doesn't deserve her own show. This character doesn't deserve to have her own featuring moment. And this is what they decided to go with. They thought, you know what, Miss Marvel is what we're going to bank on. It's going to make us money. People are going to like it. And there are glaringly obvious problems with it, like the fact that there are moments that feel very teen angsty. There's a lot of moments throughout the series so far that feel like, wow, this is clearly made for younger teenagers. Ha ha, lots of comedy. And then there are other moments where you're watching, you're hearing the dialogue, and you're going, wow, this is very adult. These are some heavier, like, adult themes, like bringing in the terms Latinx and all of that, where it's like, so which is it? Is this for younger audiences, or is this for adults? Is this for already existing fans? Or is this for potentially new fans of this character? And it just ended up being a pile of trash. And the series isn't over yet. You guys know, I try to give everything a fair chance. Maybe by the end of this show, we'll be going, wow, that was amazing. I love Miss Marvel. I would put my life on me not feeling that way, though. It says, as expected, Miss Marvel is a huge bust for Kevin Feige on Disney Plus, as it's the least watched Marvel show by far, even worse than Hawkeye. I didn't like Hawkeye either. I had said from the very beginning, though, I've never been the largest fan of Hawkeye, primarily because if I can watch TV shows and movies about Doctor Strange, cosmic sorcerers, Spider-Man, Thor, all these cool characters, why the fuck would I want to watch a show about a middle-class American who happens to have arrows? I'm sorry. We're not talking about, like, Oliver Queen over here, who's this fucking millionaire playboy who can get any fucking equipment with the press of a button. Like, we're not talking about that. It's not like Hawkeye was ever this super amazing character. In my opinion, there's stories with him that I like. There's content that I like him that he's in. He is not a character to me, though, that I think deserves a TV series. And Miss Marvel isn't either. But it says Samba TV released its 5-day numbers where Miss Marvel was only watched by 775,000 households, which is a near 50% drop from the previously least watched Marvel show Hawkeye, and a 69% drop from the high of Loki. Loki was a show that I felt was also not as good as it could have been. I didn't like the storyline that the first couple episodes were fine, and then you get into the last like 2 or 3 episodes and it was like, ooh, that's kind of weird. I don't know. It started off decent. It stayed consistent, good CGI, meh writing. I think for me, I knew the show was probably not going to be great when I saw they had just a pile of Infinity Stones being used as paperweights. That to me was like a giant slap in the face, but it says, so that means half of the people watching the Marvel shows didn't bother to watch Miss Marvel, even though they have an existing Disney Plus subscription where they can watch it basically for free. But again, half of the Marvel fans chose not to watch Miss Marvel. Again, I think that a giant problem here is the fact that they're pushing the show as like, wow, it's the new big Marvel show and Marvel series, but it's like they don't have a clear vision of who they wanted to market this towards. It's for teens and kids, so your point, then why in the show do they talk about terms like Latinx? That's not a term that kids are walking around using. The way that it was used clearly wasn't used in a way that kids would be like, wow, gee whiz, that makes a lot of sense to me. So, your point? It says Disney Plus's Marvel premiere 5-day ratings: WandaVision 1.6, Falcon and Winter Soldier 1.8, Loki 2.5, Hawkeye 1.5, Moon Knight 1.8, and Miss Marvel 775,000. This to me is funny. The fact that this show couldn't even hit 800,000, never mind a million views in its premiere first couple of days. It says Miss Marvel is another Phase 4 fail for Kevin Feige. I feel like all of Phase 4 so far has been kind of a bust, except for maybe like one thing here, one thing there. I'm gonna be honest, I feel like besides Spider-Man No Way Home, what else is there? It says again, the news isn't all that surprising. It's just as I said, Miss Marvel is another character forced on the fans that no one likes, just like Brie Larson and Captain Marvel, and all of Kevin Feige's Phase 4 approach that has been proven to be a big failure at the box office. And on Disney Plus's Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals are all busts, and Doctor Strange 2 failed to live up to the expectations and won't hit $1 billion at the box office. Oh, and by the way, Top Gun Maverick is, I believe, 50 million away from hitting $1 billion. Sheesh. It says what should have been an easy thing to do following the huge success of Spider-Man No Way Home, but instead the flick features forced characters and a forced storyline, all at the expense of the main character. Yeah, I did talk about this in a video. Unfortunately, Miss Marvel just isn't what people expected. It's not doing good right now. You know, as it progresses, maybe it'll get better. I don't see a way for this to get much better. Unfortunately, this isn't a series that is bringing viewers in. Samba did say that there has been a higher percentage of Hispanic, Black homes that were watching the show. Does it say the tweet here? It doesn't specify here, but I did talk about it in the video, but they're basically saying that more diverse households are watching this series, which is great. I hope that that was Disney's plan. I hope that that's what they really cared about, but it's not bringing in other Marvel fans. Stop bringing in people who are clearly showing up to watch all of these other series. So that's what I had to talk about with Miss Marvel, and that is going to be the end of that conversation for the evening. As the weeks go on, I will continue to talk about Miss Marvel when there's updates to user scores and different things happening in episodes, but for this week, that's the update that I have for you guys. Yeah, an iconic Marvel villain shows up in Hawkeye, but only at the end. That's a problem, is where you've got characters and like villains that people care about, but you shove them into the last episode because once the show is done airing, people are going to go, oh, so the show's done. That's what you were leading up to, so now I'll watch it. Just to try to draw people into the next series that comes out 3 freaking years later. It's a family show. How about you get away from the hate YouTube group and post positive good news? I talk about positive news in these streams, in videos. I play games multiple times a week. That's not negative. But it is what it is. Oh no, the X jokes chat. I'm a Wom-Exen. Please don't misgender me. Or you're banned. But yeah, next we're going to move into the Blizzard topics. There's a few different things that I wanted to quickly touch on with Blizzard. Specifically this topic that's on screen with this social contract. There's like one other thing that I wanted to quickly mention, just in case we hear any updates in the future about it. I've covered it at least once. But I've been talking about Blizzard a lot over the past few years. Unfortunately, Blizzard has not done a lot positive. Blizzard is constantly screwing over their consumers, pissing people off, and just looking like a generally pretty crappy company at this point. And of course, I've talked about the lawsuits against Blizzard and all of that, but while Blizzard's employees are apparently very bad people, they want to curb their players from being bad people by thinking that something called a social contract is going to work, because Blizzard Entertainment now requires World of Warcraft players to sign an anti-harassment social contract before logging in. A social contract. They think that doing this is going to curb anything they view as toxicity or harassment. I've talked a lot about how companies view basically banter between players as harassment now, which is something, of course, is not going to change. But it says in their latest effort to try and rehabilitate their public image, Blizzard has introduced a new anti-harassment social contract which World of Warcraft players must agree to before logging into the game. If people want to be generally shitty individuals, they're still going to be. Even if you make them re-sign a social contract, okay? When people sign up to play games, they acknowledge the terms of service. And all of these things are still in the terms of service. They're just trying to, when you log in, put it in your face like, hey, just so you remember, don't break the rules because we've got social contracts in place. I don't know why they think that this is going to change anything. But it says, as reported, players are presented with the agreement upon their first login to the game following the May 31st rollout of its patch 9.2.5. Hail, traveler, and welcome to the World of Warcraft, it says. Azeroth is a living world full of people like you, other players with different backgrounds, cultures, experiences, histories who have all come together to play World of Warcraft. Every player deserves to have a world they feel safe, and so please take a minute to read our social contract. Guys, if you play World of Warcraft, it can be your safe space for just $14.99 a month, reoccurring subscription fee. I understand, right, that companies want to look good. So if they think putting a social contract at the front page of their game when you log in is going to make them seem like they're doing something and they're being good people, of course they're going to do it because that's all they care about. They care about you swiping your credit card to pay for their video game, to pay for the subscription, and they hope that you'll stick around and continue to do so. And so they think, you know what, if we just add this little notice at the beginning of when you log in that says social contract, and it'll make people happy, of course they're going to do it, right? But it's not going to do anything. A problem, I should say, with companies now is how nothing is okay anymore, right? Unless everything is rainbows and sunshines and butterflies and bees and everyone's being nice to each other, whatever you're doing is unacceptable, okay? Banter, even if it's more negative, it's not, you're a great person. No, you're a great person. To these companies, everything is toxic, everything is bad. That's how they view their players, okay? They're not, this to me shows, and a lot of other people, it shows they don't view us as adults who are simply expected to follow the rules and could get suspended or banned for not following the rules. It's, oh, well, this is a safe place for people, so sign this social contract just so you remember to follow the rules and be nice to each other. It's like, hey, you're a child, and you need to be reminded to be nice on the internet. It's like, really? Your players have to follow these rules, but apparently your employees don't. It says, in addition to encouraging players to make friends, play as a team, assist others, and help answer questions others have in chat channels, the contract also warns players against engaging in a number of behaviors which the developer has deemed unacceptable. Of course, it's that they deem unacceptable. We recognize that the internet is always a fun, safe haven. And there are certain things that are not accepted in Azeroth. According to the developer, prohibited behavior includes hate speech, including negative comments, targeting other players' identities, including aspects like race, gender, or ability, harassments, threats, derogatory language or behavior, and spamming, advertising, or other disruptive behaviors aren't allowed. Now, obviously, I don't think that people should be walking around in games saying, you know, racial slurs to individuals. I don't think that people should be able to dox people and threaten violence upon them, right? But that's what the report button is for, and that's what the block button is for. If someone is bothering you, report them, block them, and move on with your day, because then they can't get into your parties, they can't message you, they can't interact with you. It's as simple as that, and that's what a report and a block feature should be for. You shouldn't make people re-sign a social contract. It's not going to change anything. But I also wanted to talk about another situation that has happened with Blizzard. It was announced yesterday. So you guys know, I've talked about Diablo Immortal a lot here on the channel. I had played Diablo Immortal twice on the channel in live streams, and it's made a shit ton of money for them. It made $24 million in only the span of 2 weeks, which was pretty good for them. I know a lot of people have been talking about that. But a big market for Blizzard is the Chinese market. I've talked about my fair share of Blizzard bending the knee for the CCP, and Diablo Immortal was supposed to release in the Chinese region in just a few days. Okay, we're only talking a couple of days difference, 2 days difference. It was supposed to release in 2 days. And then suddenly, the release got delayed. Now, of course, they're not going to admit that there's a problem that they're trying to work through, that they've pissed off individuals. No, they're not going to do that. But they are going to try to play it off as, we just needed some more time to work on the game. So, if you all didn't know, let me see if this says here. Okay, so let's start at the top of this article, because it does mention it. It says Diablo Immortal's release in China has been pushed back just days before it was due to launch. The official line is that the development team needs more time to optimize the game, but the delay comes in the wake of the banning of Blizzard's Chinese social media accounts. As soon as I read that, I went, okay, so they made people mad. It says over the weekend, a new press release on the Chinese Blizzard website explained that the Diablo Immortal development team needs to make a number of optimization adjustments, including support for a wider range of devices, improving render quality, and other network and performance improvements. No release date was provided, just the news that it will not release on June 23rd. It says, though, NetEase, the Chinese gaming giant and co-developer of Diablo Immortal, suffered a 10% drop in stock value the morning following the delay announcement, as reported by the South China Morning Post. So obviously, that first off doesn't look good for them. It definitely doesn't look good for them because they suffered such a tank in stock value. But it says while further development work is the official reason for the delay from NetEase and Blizzard, it hasn't stopped some from speculating that a recent social media ban is the actual reason behind the changed launch plans. I don't think I've seen many situations where a company only announces 2 days before a launch, hey, we're going to delay this. Usually it's a month, 2 months, 3 months. We're talking 2 days here, okay? You are not going to get me to believe that they suddenly delayed the game only 2 days before launch because they had to work on it a little bit more. And then, to top it off, they didn't even provide players with a new release date. It says, I'm sorry, oh, Blizzard. Recently, the official Blizzard account on China's most prominent social network for Diablo Immortal allegedly posted a reference to Winnie the Pooh. Ah, it's all coming together. Now, also, following this news of Diablo Immortal being indefinitely delayed in the Chinese region, the official Blizzard and World of Warcraft Twitter accounts today announced that by the end of the year, the new World of Warcraft expansion Dragonflight is releasing. So we're talking about one thing after another thing after another thing after another thing. Because originally, this was just in development, right? We had heard a potential release of Dragonflight for next year. And now their website is updated. They're announcing the Epic Edition for Dragonflight, which again is the World of Warcraft expansion. And they're saying it's going to release on or before December 31st. So they are releasing Dragonflight this year. They're announcing that halfway through the year when literally no one believes it, because as far as we knew, it's only been in development for like half a year now. Okay? All they had a couple months ago was concept art for it. So it's a lot of interesting things coming together. And of course, there are people who believe that this is all due to money. It doesn't seem to me like they only need money, because they have as much money as they need now with Microsoft. But China is very important to Microsoft as a whole. So it's like they said to Blizzard, you need to release another product to appeal to that market. Because, of course, this World of Warcraft expansion is going to get released in China. So it's like they said, you need to release another product to appeal to that market and smooth things over. And all they have is World of Warcraft's next expansion. I just feel like they were looking at their drawing board going, what are we going to release next? Diablo Immortal, at least for now, isn't releasing in the Chinese region, so what are we going to release next? We need to put something out soon in the next couple of months. And they just went, you know what? Okay, I guess it's World of Warcraft. And a lot of World of Warcraft players are not very happy with this news, because of course a giant problem with Battle for Azeroth was the fact that it was rushed. I mean, they rushed to release it, and a lot of people were not very happy with that. And all of these things are happening within only a couple of days of each other. You've got Diablo Immortal being indefinitely delayed in China, Blizzard's Chinese social media accounts getting banned, and now you've got the Dragonflight Epic Edition being available for pre-purchase, and they're talking about releasing it before the end of the year. I mean, yeah, it's a lot of things adding up here. And again, I don't think that it's just because of money. Of course, people think that it's because of money. And they are a company at the end of the day. But I really don't think that it's just because of money. I just think it's because, hey, we're going to have to release something. What are we going to release? And they looked at World of Warcraft and went, well, I guess this is our next best thing. So that's all that I had to talk about with Blizzard tonight, you guys. But there's a lot going on with Blizzard right now. And Diablo Immortal, of course, it has made them $24 million in 2 weeks, which is a lot considering it's a free game. But people are quitting it in mass droves, and I understand why. I played it for the first couple of days. I didn't put any money into it. I didn't spend a single dollar, but I did give it a try. It's unfortunate that it is just a pay-to-win microtransaction bullshit monetization mess, but it's not very surprising. I think that we all expected that from Diablo Immortal. Thank you, Mr. Waifu Taker, for the CA2. Minus, negative 999 million social credit. Also, here's some money. Well, thank you. I do really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, and I mean, look at all the other things that Blizzard's put out that have fucking failed, okay? I mean, like someone pointed out, Warcraft 3 Reforged. The remaster of Warcraft 3 was absolutely terrible. The last World of Warcraft expansion, the retail expansion, also wasn't good. And then they put out World of Warcraft Classic. And while, yes, that also brought in more subscriptions and brought popularity up, people are furious over... I don't remember what expansion they're releasing for Classic next. I don't remember which one it is. But the new expansion, well, it's not a new expansion, but they're finally releasing the next expansion in Classic, and they're resetting characters. So all of that work and effort you put into characters previously is being erased. So it's just not looking good for them right now. As a person that has never been a Blizzard fan, I can only say I'm so sorry for you all. I've always been I don't want to say I've always been a Blizzard fan. Well, I've liked specific projects of Blizzard's. I've said it before. I've liked Blizzard. Unfortunately, it is an awful time to be a Blizzard fan, just because of all the shit that they've been doing over the past few years. Oh, it is Wrath of the Lich King. Okay, I wasn't sure. I had read about it maybe a week ago. I think that the fresh servers were announced, but I didn't remember which expansion they were on. I played World of Warcraft Classic when it released, but like I got one character to max, and then I was like, there's no way that I'm playing any more of this. It was an okay experience, but I felt like while it was okay, I didn't want to pay a monthly subscription fee for World of Warcraft anymore. I've never been someone who's put, thousands of hours into WoW. But unfortunately, nothing with WoW has captured my attention lately. Yeah, it's the merger with Activision that ruined Blizzard. Yeah, no, I do agree. And I think that most people would agree with that. I was always a Blizzard fan until Diablo 3's launch. Yeah, Diablo 3's launch was rough. I still like Diablo 3 though. Like, at the end of the day, I could sit and play Diablo 3 right now and I would be enjoying myself, right? I wouldn't be sitting here being like, this is the worst game, I hate it. I would be able to put some decent time into it. I mean, I've played it multiple times. I don't think that it's a bad experience. Yeah, it definitely didn't start off very good, but I think that now I can play it and enjoy it. I know that there are still people who were, not fans of it. I didn't stay a hater forever. Never was a fan of Blizzard, but oh mommy, the Overwatch waifus. Oh, did you see Overwatch's newest waifu for Overwatch 2? Mr. Waifu Taker, did you see her? She's called Junker Queen. Did you see her? You're gonna love her. Let me show her to you. I'm sorry, chat. Yeah, she's definitely a beauty. She is, oh me, oh my. What a waifu. What a nice, beautiful waifu. Love it. Okay. I'm sorry, chat. I had to do it. I'm sorry I had to do it. She looks so bad. Yeah, I did eventually play D3. The game itself wasn't bad, but the company greed around launch was horrible. Oh yeah, 100 fucking percent. 100%. He looks totally ripped. Yeah, he definitely does. That blue mohawk. I think that my problem with the design comes in at the fact that there was a previous design of her that she actually looked kind of feminine, and they said that's not a good look for us. Dollar Store Mad Maggie, actually freaking true. Well, guys, next we're going to move into Game of Thrones. Quickly, if you're enjoying the live stream, make sure to give it a like. If you're not, give it a dislike. Consider donating via Streamlabs. All donations pop up. Link is in the pinned comment, also in the description. Become a member via YouTube memberships. I can thank you for your support. It does help the channel out a lot. I really appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for stopping by the live stream and chatting. But yeah, we'll get into Game of Thrones in just a minute. This to me is it's so disappointing. I've talked about Game of Thrones so much on the channel. I really hadn't covered Game of Thrones. I've never really covered Game of Thrones dedicatedly. I've done like live stream discussion here, live stream discussion there. But now that we've got this sequel series being greenlit, we've got House of the Dragon releasing, I'm sure I'm going to be covering it a lot more. And well, I'm just sad. I'm just disappointed. I'm just disappointed with what they've done to our poor Game of Thrones. Kit looks depressed. Why am I back here? I actually disagree. I think that he is not depressed because he's back. I think that he was depressed because he knew that his career was over without Game of Thrones, and now he's happy that he's back. So, well, chat, we're here. We still have one more topic to discuss after this, but we're here to talk about Game of Thrones. Now, I've said it many times. I will say it many more times, I'm sure. I like Game of Thrones, right? I love the books. The books were great. I really enjoyed the books. And the show, the first few seasons of the show were also very fucking incredible. I mean, they were solid experiences. They followed the source material. They clearly put a lot of time and effort into, you know, what they were doing with the characters and how they were going to show specific scenes on screen and all in juggling all of these different perspectives. I was very worried for Game of Thrones because I thought that there was no way that they were going to juggle all of the perspectives. And they did, and it worked out really well for them. But of course, as the show continued and they were winding it down, quality went downhill. And a major problem was the fact that they ran out of source material. They didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know what direction they wanted to take the show in. And with season 7, I'd say probably season 6, the show started to get iffy. And then with season 7, the show was bad. And season 8, the show was bad. And a giant reason, again, why the show was so bad in the last few seasons was because they had no source material. They had no idea what they were going to do, where they were going to go. And even though George R. R. Martin said he could have helped them create like another 5 fucking seasons of this goddamn show, Dumb and Dumber decided, no, we are done with Game of Thrones. And they decided to end it. And now we know we're coming up on a few new series. We know there's a few series of like Dunk and Egg. We know that House of the Dragon is releasing in August. And here we go, chat, because Game of Thrones Jon Snow sequel series is in development at HBO. Guys, what the fuck? These dipshits rushed to finish Game of Thrones because they ran out of source material and didn't want to write anything new. And they rushed it and ruined the last 2 seasons just to put out another show 2 years later. We're not even talking here about, like, this. There's a time gap. It's like 40 years in the future. Maybe someone else is a king. Who fucking knows, right? People are different. Everyone's aged, matured, blah, 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 blah. Kit Harington is going to reprise his role as Jon Snow. So we're talking like a 10-year gap, like, max, right? Because they could try to age him up a bit, but there's only so far you're going to age. It's not like we're talking about, like, 40 years in the future. Okay, they can recast all these actors. They can... No, they're not doing that. Because with Kit Harington's name being officially attached, you instantly know there's only so much time that could have passed in between seasons. Well, the last season of the main series and this new season of this new show. This is so stupid. I like Game of Thrones, but holy Toledo, who said this was a good idea? We're gonna do this. They rushed to finish the series just to do another series not even that much longer later? It says the network has entered into early development on its first sequel. First? What do you mean first? There's gonna be more? I think that they should... Whoa! Betsy, slow down. I think what they should do... Stop for a second. Inhale, exhale... Take a deep breath, think for a second, and just maybe go, why don't we do a second show years later and not have 5 goddamn new shows that are sequels going on? Why don't they just do a Game of Thrones 1, but put a 2 on it? And instead of this wording of its first sequel, just do one whole sequel show. And do it like the first, where you've got maybe 5 different main characters. People could reprise their roles if that's really what they want to do. Because now what we're going to get is we're going to get Jon Snow has his own sequel show. And then a Targaryen. There's going to be a different Targaryen who has their own spin-off show, sequel show. And then we're going to have... King's Landing, the sequel show. And then, I mean, we're going to have the Dornish. We're going to have a Dorne sequel show. We're going to end up with like 5 sequel shows at one point. That's not good. That's the problem, is they're talking about first sequel. I vote. I know how to end this, okay? I know how to end this. What they should do is they should figure out a sequel series once George R.R. Martin has finished writing the next book. And then we'll never have to worry about hearing about a sequel series ever again. Ah, crickets. All you hear is the ocean waves in the background. You hear the wind rustling in the trees. Because there's never gonna be a fucking end to this series, okay? He's never gonna finish writing these goddamn books. So we never get a sequel series. That's all they should do. That's what they should do. They should just wait until he's done writing, and then it never happens. It says Kit Harington is attached to reprise the role should a series move forward. Come on now. We're not stupid. It is gonna move forward. Okay? If they've already confirmed Kit Harington is going to come back as Jon Snow, clearly it's going to move forward. That is not someone you just... We're just gonna casually talk to him in case we decide to do it. No, of course not. The only thing that he's got going for him is Eternals. Who knows if we'll ever get an Eternals 2, if his character will ever matter in Eternals, or in the MCU in general. He's got nothing lined up for him right now. It says, in Thrones' 8th and final season, Jon Snow discovered his true name was Aegon Targaryen. Spoilers! A potential heir to the Iron Throne. I swear. I fucking swear. If you goddamn motherfuckers give us a Jon Snow series where you are setting Stark versus Stark, I swear. I swear. I swear. I am going to burn my Game of Thrones books. I am never going to talk about Game of Thrones again. I am not going to buy the next book that comes out in 70 years when I'm an old grandmother. Because when I think of them doing a spin-off show, this is unfortunate what I think of. A sequel where he's technically an heir to the Iron Throne, and there's a Stark on the throne right now, even though I could never be Lord of anything, except I can be a king, which is so stupid. Regardless of that, I feel like that's what they do. I feel like they're going to be paying a boatload for Kit Harington, so they're going to want to do a series and a storyline where he decides, you know what, I think I could be better for the Iron Throne. Or there would be that dynamic of that tension between these family members. Because that of course, that is drama. That is prime time television drama. You've got the bastard brother who really is the rightful heir to the throne, and then the crippled, kind of smart, but not really smart brother who everyone makes fun of, who technically can't be lord of anything, but he's still the king. Like, that right there is a prime plot for a show. And unfortunately, not a good prime plot, in my opinion. That is a two-head plot. That is like someone who doesn't know how to write. That's the best thing that they could come up with the end of the show. So that's what they're deciding to go for. Like, I just think that that's what they do. It says in the series finale, he was exiled from Westeros and journeyed north of the wall. Well, I mean, technically, okay, if he's the rightful heir to the throne, then can he really be exiled from Westeros by someone who's not even the true heir to the throne? I mean, seriously. Why do you think I came all this way? Right. Like, you know that they would do this thing, because you saw it in the last season, right? You've got all these people who turned against Daenerys who were like, he's better for the throne. He would do better. He's the rightful heir. You know that that's what they do. That he would have supporters who would still be behind him after 5 years, 10 years, the only few that know the truth. The whole first season would be, my name is Jon Snow. I'm the rightful heir to the throne. There's only like 3 people alive who actually believe that I'm the rightful heir and know my true lineage. 2 of them died, so there's only 1 person who actually knows the truth about me. And then, like, I have to get this 1 person to help me in my quest for the throne. You know, that's just that is how something like that would go. And then they'd have in the final episode, the last 5 minutes, Bran sitting there like, I knew this day would come. I saw it all those years ago. I was just holding the throne for you until you came to your senses. Like, they would do some dumb shit like that. So they're doing it, guys. There's going to be a Game of Thrones sequel spin-off show. Kit Harington is going to reprise his role as Jon Snow. And I think that this sounds pretty stupid. I'm going to be honest. I don't know where they'd go with this series. I don't know how they'd do it. I don't know if it would turn out good, if it would be trash. I'm 90% confident that it would be trash. But chat, that's all we know right now. Jon Snow sequel series. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Next, we're going to talk about the Rings of Power. This is going to be the last topic of the evening, but I still wanted to talk about it. I'm going to be doing a video on it tomorrow, but I still wanted to mention it tonight. Quickly, though, if you guys are enjoying the stream, give it a like. If you're not, give it a dislike. Donate via Streamlabs. All donations pop up. $3 or more text-to-speech activates. Become a member via YouTube memberships. Dark Titan via Patreon. Thank you guys for being here. McKing. That's what they do. They do something stupid like that. I don't even want to think about them continuing to ruin Game of Thrones. It's already been ruined. It was ruined years ago. We don't need it re-ruined. Stick Sean Bean's head back on, then you have a good sequel. Oh man, what I would do to get at. I will take a prequel, a sequel, a whatever. It doesn't matter. You put him on screen, I will swipe my credit card. I'm sorry. You all have that one character in entertainment, or that one actor in entertainment. It's him for sure for me. Anything. Where do I swipe my credit card? That would be great. It can be, you know what? It can be a prequel. I don't really want a prequel, but you know what? Then we could have fucking Robert back. This is sounding like a pretty good prequel, and you're not gonna lie. He could play Ned Stark's long-lost twin brother who has been living on the other side of the wall the whole time. That's a pretty five-head plot right there. I'd still watch it. I think you all would too. Let's be honest. They've got to do something to draw people back in. And I just think what their plan is to get some of the original cast back and be like, well, it's kind of like a redo of season 8, but not really because nothing's changed. We're just adding to it. Game of Thrones 2, they're all ghosts. Okay, guys, so Amazon Prime Video's official YouTube account yesterday decided to post this ad. Now, of course, leading up to the Rings of Power, they've been releasing interviews and promo material and advertisements and pictures on social media. And they decided to release this yesterday titled The Earth Needs More Elf Fans. Prime Video, see where it takes you. Now, first of all, that's a pretty terrible title. I'm just going to be honest. I think that that's a terrible title. But it's got almost 500,000 views. And oh no.
Blizzard donated $10.
No.
Friendly reminder to sign your social contract. Your safe space awaits. Love, Blizzard.
You should have done 5 social credit score. Thank you, Blizzard. We've had Amber, we've had Blizzard, and we've had, what was the first one? Hold. I need to know. What was the first one, chat? We've had an Amber. We've had a Blizzard. Who was the first one? I don't remember. But thank you for the $10 donation. Much appreciated. Thank you, thank you. So they decided to post this. It's got 500,000 views. It's got 1,000 likes to 11,000 dislikes. And, of course, the comments section is filled with people, okay, who are pretty pissed off at this, who think that this is just stupid. But I wanted to play it for you guys. I thought we could react a little bit to it. Now, keep in mind, this is what they think is going to be good promotional material, get people interested in the Rings of Power. Is that the Lord of the Rings? The exclusive Rings of Power covers that look like trash? That was it! That was it!
How dare you forget about me?
I did,
Sad
Neil.
face.
I'm sorry, Mr. Cuckman. Thank you for the $5 donation. Much appreciated. Thank you, thank you. That was it. Oh, it was gonna eat me alive all night. And I was gonna have to look it up after in the donation history, and it was gonna eat me alive until I figured it out. But you answered it for me. Thank you for the $5 donation. Much appreciated. Guys, is that the Lord of the Rings of Power exclusive Amazon book covers? Wow. That looks like such trash. I also have to point it out. I've said this before. I think that these covers are trash. I would not waste my money on this.
Wait till tomorrow.
Your pixies can wait till tomorrow. Even his own bitch mother hates him. That's sad. Even his own mother is mean to him. Even his mother's mean to him. That's sad. Did she sign her social contract?
They're elves.
They're elves. Your pixies can wait till tomorrow. Jeez. How old is this kid supposed to be? 8? 10? Should he... I don't know. Shouldn't the mother still be kind of figuring out what her kid's consuming for product? Shouldn't a mother know that it's about elves and not pixies? Seems like bad parenting. Love that. I love that. You know the feeling of finally finding your people? Literally, like, his mother isn't his people. I'm sorry, this is a giant "you're a bad fucking parent" advertisement. Your people! I don't know, other humans? People that like your same hobbies? Even your mother doesn't know your hobby. So bad. It's just so bad, and I get that they've got to put out promotional material, right? It's just so bad. It's like that's the best that you could come up with. And oh, it went up. It's at 1,000 likes to 12,000 dislikes. Fandom has no limit at Prime Video. I think that this is truly fucking hilarious because we're talking about Amazon here, okay? Amazon Prime Video, where they literally, first of all, they've literally deleted criticism off of the Rings of Power videos. So clearly, they're not allowing people to have discussions, even if they're more negative. And Amazon Prime Video uses Vanity Fair to attack critics of the Rings of Power as trolls. Do they not see, like, the problem here with the way that they're acting? Let's read just a couple of the comments. Wow, you took time out of your busy day of calling fans every name in the book to recognize that we're the real group perversing and loving the stories you shit on. We, not you, are the ones who help new fans like that adorable child you're using here understand the story, and we love the new fans in the story too much to accept someone who treats both with a good deal less respect than a farmer treats even a lamed milking cow. People saying things like the earth needs people who knows how to make proper adaptations and respect the source material. People saying things like, we need more elf writers. They're underrepresented. Why did they think that this, like, advertisement was going to go over well? Imagine if the kid wanted to be an orc. What if this kid wanted to walk around being an ent? And he was just standing in one place all the time. That would have been a good ad. I do have to say. That would have been a good ad. This is not a bad commercial. It's fine. The problem is the path that was laid before this came out. The Superfans video, the trailer, the Empire articles. This show looks to trample on a much-loved property, Dear Fellowship. This show will one day pass into memory and only haunt us from time to time. I love this comment. Favorite part of this is when the boy picks up the book and has to brush off dust because nobody has wanted to touch the Amazon cover version. I love that. It is true though. He does wipe it off. He does wipe off the dust. I wouldn't even want the Amazon cover versions. I mean, they are awful. Gotta love the Tolkien fans not putting up with the BS for 1 second. I'm glad to be a part of this fandom. Ratio this to the ground. This does deserve to get ratioed. And it is. But I mean, maybe it technically could go up in likes. Doesn't seem like that's gonna happen, though. Just a lot of people who are saying things like, it's a bad teaser. Why would you put this out? Am I out of touch? No, it's the fans who are wrong. Amazon. This is the way that Amazon has acted, that they're doing everything just fine and they've done nothing wrong. It's only toxic idiots online who are ruining things and who are complaining, which obviously isn't the case. Just a lot of the same comments, a lot of similar comments. Nothing against the boy, all the power to him, but the video once more shows with every moment how little Amazon actually cares about Tolkien and how much they try to act like they think you would act if you like Tolkien, but they don't even know the stories. And it's true, they don't know the stories. They don't know what they're talking about. They just think that, oh, hey, this should go over well with people, even though none of their teasers and trailers have so far. I mean, even look at the Superfan situation, right? The official Prime Video Superfans review puts focus on racial identity politics. This is clearly what they're focused on with this series. They're not worried about actually following source material and doing things for the fans. They're only worried about, oh, well, what narrative can we push with this? You know, how can we market this to specific people? Let's go to some of the newer comments. Let's see if there are any here. Having an independent thought is hard. Creation is harder. It takes even more mental capacity to create than to have a thought. Then an independent thought that is not idiotic is rare, and a creation that is not trash is beyond most people. People are saying things like, I am saying this because The Lord of the Rings is a great creation with independent thoughts, time, loving care, and sacrifice to create. It just seems wrong for lesser minds to tear it down. Yeah, I mean, there are some people, and I haven't gotten to look too much into this, but there are some reports from what I've seen saying that they've actually deleted comments off of this. Right now it's sitting at 1,426. I did see some tweets saying that some of the comments were erased. I haven't seen any numbers, but like I mentioned, I am going to talk about this in a video tomorrow. So tonight, like after stream, I'm gonna try to see if I can find any previous numbers. it wouldn't surprise me if there were comments that were erased primarily because, like I've talked about with the official Rings of Power trailer, they mass deleted over 22,000 negative comments. So guys, that's all that I really had to discuss tonight. We talked about the Rings of Power, Game of Thrones, Blizzard, Diablo Immortal, World of Warcraft, Miss Marvel. We talked about a lot of stuff tonight. I'm not ending stream yet, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you have any topics you'd like me to discuss, feel free to put them into chat. I'll be wrapping up stream in about 5 to 10 minutes, but yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Is having an independent thought really that hard? Yes. Yes. Lesser Minds, do they have any clue who Tolkien even was? They weren't talking about Tolkien, they were talking about the writers now. So they were saying the Lesser Minds were the writers that Amazon has hired for Rings of Power. Only nerds like Lord of the Rings. Yeah, clearly. Only nerds. Let me scroll up. Plus ratioed, plus tarnished, plus maidenless. Actually true, though. Actually freaking true. The super fans, I forgot about that. Yeah, the super fans. That was a lot. Even for Amazon. They hired people who clearly don't know much about Lord of the Rings to do interviews and have discussions with very, very pre-written, carefully calculated responses. And then we found out afterwards that they only did it for a specific reason. Like, it's not like they picked actual Lord of the Rings fans. They just picked, I don't want to call them celebrities, but influencers. They just picked people on, like, TikTok and, like, YouTube, social media that have larger followings to fucking promote their product. When is this Amazon disgrace releasing? The Rings of Power releases... Let me find the exact date. Rings of Power release date. It is releasing on September 2nd. That's it. So yeah. When it releases, I will be reviewing it and talking about it. I'm surprised we haven't gotten the full official trailer for it, though. We've gotten teasers, but we haven't gotten the official trailer. But yeah. Yeah, I did see that there were some reports of the deleted comments, but I haven't gotten a chance to, like, look into it much more. I do know that there were people saying that it was happening, and I definitely believe that it was happening, but I didn't have any, like, screenshot of this is the number that it kind of all started at, and then it dropped because of deletion. What are your thoughts on the Actman situation? I have talked about it, like in other streams, but it's just it's a really shitty situation to see someone, you know, unfortunately, have to watch a platform side with other people that are doing bad things that they're being accused of doing, that they got not removed for, but got in trouble for. You know, Actman... YouTube saw jokes as actual threats of doxing and harassment when they weren't. But people who are actually doxing and threatening other individuals, Actman, Review Tech, they are the ones being threatened. You know, there's no punishment there. How is Bilbo? He is good. Yeah, he hasn't been on stream over the past few days. I'll make sure to bring him in on Thursday. Because I don't know where he is right now. No full trailer until August, maybe? No, it's going to be in July. There's been reports that they're supposed to be releasing it soon, which, yeah, I don't think that they're going to wait until, like, I don't think that they're going to wait until, like, August. I think that they've got to release it sooner. But we'll see. I mean, technically, it could be that far away. I just don't think so. Thank you, Mr. Waifu Taker, for the CA5. Hey, Vera, I've enjoyed the stream as it's the first one I've truly sat through in a while. I send your videos to my friends, and we're fans. Awesome. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for stopping by. And, yeah, I hope the rest of your evening goes well. Yeah, I don't have a lot of hope at this point for the Rings of Power. I will watch it. I'll give it a chance. I want to be able to talk about it on stream and give you all kind of my in-depth thoughts on it. But right now, I'm not feeling very hopeful about it. I just feel like it's not going to be a super good or memorable experience. I just think that it's going to have, it might look pretty, but just because it looks pretty doesn't mean the writing's going to be good and the interactions are going to be good. Who knows? I'm not feeling too excited for it right now, though, to be honest. Literally the day after my birthday, gross. Yeah, last year on my birthday, High Guardian Spice released. That was the birthday present that I got. I got High Guardian Spice. That was great. Yeah, I did see they released images of the orcs today. I don't really think that the images looked that bad. But again, it's not just about one aspect being really good or another aspect being good. Everything has to be good. And unfortunately, we know at this point that not everything is going to be good or even close to perfect. The orcs looked okay, though. Pretty sure I'm gonna pass on it. Yeah, I understand that one. If I wasn't on social media, I wouldn't be in a rush to watch it, that's for sure. Are you going to watch the Kit Game of Thrones show? Most likely, because I try to watch everything that I discuss, and it's Game of Thrones, and everyone would be interested in hearing about it, but if they do, decide to actually go through with it, because right now, they're trying to basically say, well, it might not happen, even though I'm pretty sure it will. It probably won't even be for a few more years. If, by the end of the year we hear more cast announcements, I think that they could probably release it like 2025. Because we know that there's House of the Dragon, but there's one other Game of Thrones show that's greenlit right now, right? I mean, there's a few that they've talked about that they want to do. But I know that House of the Dragon, obviously, it's coming out this year. But I think that there's one more show that they've already casted for. They've started casting for, but I don't remember which one. Did they say who was directing the show? No. They didn't specify really any other details. So they probably asked Kit Harington if he wanted to do it. They've probably asked a bunch of various directors, showrunners, producers, hey, we're going to do this project, do you want in? And they just haven't announced anyone because they don't have anything else set in stone right now. High Guardian Spice. High Guardian Spice was an awful, awful piece of entertainment. There was nothing good about it. Just nothing. Ryan Johnson will be directing the entire show. Don't listen, Matt, okay? Don't even will that into the universe. Don't even joke about that. No, that's not, that is evil. Okay, Matt, that is an evil comment. That is an evil thing to say. Do not say that again. I'll forgive you this time. If you will that into existence, I swear, I am gonna perma you. Okay? I don't think that Dumb and Dumber will come back for the show, though. I don't think that Dumb and Dumber will ever touch another Game of Thrones project. I think that there's too many people who look at them now and go, you are the number one reason why this series, the last few seasons failed. You guys are the reason, yes, while the first few seasons did so great, that the show ultimately ended with a lot of anger, a lot of disappointment, and I don't think that Dumb and Dumber would come back. Cuckman is an executive producer. Jester, don't even. Stop being evil, chat. Why are you guys being so evil? One of you guys is gonna say something like that and then it's gonna really happen. No. No. Thank you for the $10 super chat, Jay. I don't know if you've heard, but Tyrone Magnus put up a video of a scary rumor that Disney got the rights to make IRL movies. Do you mean live action movies of Dragon Ball Z? But can't touch the anime? I haven't heard of that. I don't know if I believe it completely. I'll have to look into it. That's all I can really say. That would be very cursed. Very fucking cursed. But thank you for the $10 super chat. I appreciate it. I'll have to look into it, though. That is... yeah, that would be fucking completely cursed. No, 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 no. LOL. It's not LOL. That's the problem. It's like GG. It's not GG. It's BG. It's not LOL. LNOL. Laughing not out loud. Daniela Pinette, shut up, guys! Stop with these bad... I'm losing my last brain cell. Stop with these cursed guesses. Stop. One of you fuckers is gonna will some of this shit into existence. I can't hear you. La 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 la. I'm not looking at chat anymore. Stop. It's not funny. Not laughing out loud. Stop. 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 Neil Druckmann is not going to be an executive producer on Game of Thrones. Ryan Johnson is not going to be the director. Daniela Pineda is not going to be part of a live-action Dragon Ball Z made by Disney. It's not happening. Shut up! No! It will be Kathleen Kennedy's first directing gig. La 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 la. I can't hear you. Stop! Stop! Ah! You guys, one of you motherfuckers, it's gonna happen! Is that what you want? Is that what you want? Guys, stop! It's not funny anymore! It's not funny! Ezra Miller, no! No! Imagine oh no, no. Not Ezra Miller in Game of Thrones. Not Ezra Miller in live action Dragon Ball Z. Stop. Jester! Anita is the casting director? No. Stop. Just stop. Stop. No. 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 Guys, it's not funny. It's not funny. I can't with you, chat. What the fuck? No. Be more positive. About what? You guys are telling me that entertainment is gonna cease to exist in 2 years. Nita will be in charge of the next Lord of the Rings and Star Wars trilogies. No, stop it, chat. If this is another Neil Truck.
Donated $10. Did someone mention my name? Can
No,
I come on your show
stop.
sometime to pitch my Cowboy Bebop spin-off show?
No, stop. Who is that? Who are you? I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna look up your name in my PayPal receipts, okay? I'm gonna ban you. No. No. Thank you for the $10 donation, Daniela Pineda. I really appreciate it. I think that the funniest part of that was, can I come on your show sometime to pitch my idea? Stop. Stop, chat. You guys are gonna fucking curse us. I'm gonna look at you guys and go, you remember 3 years ago on June 21st, 2022 at 9:45 p.m. when you guys were cursing our very existence? When one of these things happen, I'm gonna look back at this moment and I'm gonna tell you guys, remember when that happened? Ezra might actually fit into Game of Thrones. He wouldn't even be acting. The next fucking Bolton. Amber needs a job too, though. I did see someone say that. True. I want to see Ezra and Amber play a married couple in a movie or a show. They sound perfect for each other. You guys are crazy. Well, chat, with that being said, you evil, evil people, you guys who are cursing us, I'm gonna wrap up the live stream here. Thank you all so much for stopping by tonight. I do really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the live stream, make sure to give it a like. If you didn't, give it a dislike. I will be streaming again on Thursday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern. On Thursday, we will be finishing up 7 Pirates H. And then over the weekend, I'm not sure what I'm going to play yet or what I'm going to stream. I will let you guys know, but on Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, I will be playing more 7 Pirates H. Check out the links in the description. Follow me on social media, Twitter, Minds, BitChute, Odyssey, Getter. Join our Discord server. We're very active there, and of course, I do tag you all when I go live in case YouTube doesn't notify you of the live streams. Thank you for the donations. Thank you for the support. Thank you for being here, and have a fantastic evening, everyone.